Hey guys, my name is Moon and welcome back for more Umineko When They Cry, episode 5. So last time we had a nice conversation between Butler and Burn Castle, right? And then Burn Castle showing us a red truth with what was happening in Natsuhi's scene, right? When she was talking to Beatrice and then they had tea. But then Burn Castle actually destroyed that and then showed us what was really happening there. It was really cool though. Yes. And now we are here in I guess another chapter as Natsuhi is preparing to think or plan on how they are gonna try to how do I say this? To confuse, not confuse, but to make it seem that Kinzo is alive yet again and just in his study for the next family conference. So let's continue and let's see what happens today. From the shadows of the study, Butler watched the exchange between these three.
なるほどな。そして、今年の親族会議を迎えるわけだ。じいさまは不機嫌だからと書斎に閉じこもり、誰の前にも姿を現さない。
Of course, Beatrice is not talking. Natsuhi spoke boldly about how she would somehow overcome this year's crisis and protect the Oshinomiya family's honor until the end. While Kinzo praised her, saying that her plan looked promising, Beato also praised her, saying that Natsuhi's dignified confidence was even more well-suited for the headship than Krause's. However, right now the true number of people in this room was 1. The moment I thought that, no, just because I thought it, Beato grabbed at her chest and moaned.
安心しろ。ここはゲーム版の、まだ外だ。だから俺は、そこにいるお前やじいさまを否定はしない。
I put my hand on Beato's as she tried to hold back the pain deep inside her. I've already told Burn Castle the 2-day period of the 1986 family conference is all I need to deny the illusion of the witch.
お前は前回、全ゲームの開始時に、じいさまが死んでることを赤で宣言した。しかし、ゲーム開始以前のじいさまの生死については言及していない。つまり、今この場にじいさまが存在していても、何の矛盾もないってわけだ。
My hand touching her let off a faint blue light, which seeped into her chest. That light tenderly wrapped itself around the splinters in Beato's chest.
そして、この場にいるベアトリーチェの存在だって、否定することはできない。ゲーム版の外、すなわち、1986年、10月4日以前の島の人数については、赤で宣言されていないんだ。
The number of people in this island outside the game board, in other words, before October 4th, 1986, has not been declared in red. Before October 4th, 1986. Do we even need that though? I mean, there are other servants during different times, so it's gonna be different number of people. Right?
だから、ここにベアトリーチェが存在しても、何もおかしいことはない。
Beato's expression softened slightly. My blue light slowly began to melt the red splinters that denied the illusion of the witch. Beato still wore the same sad expression, but she lifted her face and looked at me straight in the eye. Though she was silent, her eyes told me that her pain had subsided. The feelings that showed in her eyes were gratitude for taking the pain away. An appreciation, or was it surprise for leaving even a tiny bit of leeway for witches to exist? Unable to look directly at those pure eyes of hers, I reflexively averted my gaze.
誤解すんなよ。魔女の存在を認めたり、あるいは屈したつもりもねえ。俺はお前とのゲームに勝つために、その部分だけに徹して、ストイックに戦いたいってわけだぜ。ゲーム版の外でまで嫌がらせをするほど趣味は悪くねえからな。
Beato hung her head. I was still facing away from her. However, we waited wordlessly for a while, my hand still on hers. By now, no one would believe that the sad-eyed woman was the same person as that prideful Beato. So I asked one more. Even though I said it aloud, it wasn't a question to her. I was asking myself.
お前は、一体、何を考えていたんだ？そうさ。俺はラムダデルタのゲームを通じてでも、お前を探さなくちゃならない。お前が何を考え、何をしようとしていたのかもな。
Very soon, this game will also reach October 4th, 1986. The fifth game will finally begin. And this time, I'll reach the end. The end of that journey.
殺人がとか、トリックがとか、そういう上辺だけじゃない。お前が、黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェが、何を考え何のためにそうしたのか。何を望んでいたのか。それを、たどる。
That's right. I already know how I can reach the end of that journey. It's been made clear to me since the very beginning.
今こそチェス盤をひっくり返そう。この物語を俺側からじゃなく、お前側からの目線で物語を紐解く。そして今度こそ、お前を理解しよう。そしてお前の心臓にたどり着く。痛みなんか感じさせない。安心しろ。あの魔女どものおもちゃになど、もうこれ以上させないからな。
Let me hear that again. I'll pick my way to your heart. I won't let you feel pain, don't worry. I won't let those witches use you as a toy anymore. Beato looked up at me again and gave a small nod. That's right. The position of Game Master might have been snatched up by Lambda Delta. However, as long as I continued this contest with the intent of fighting against Beato, our fight will continue no matter who controls the game board. Very soon, the curtain will rise on our game. Thunberg Lily.
今年の親族会議でも、親方様の秘密を隠さねばならん。
はい。
Shannon is finally here.
心得ております。
同じ手がもう一度通じるか疑問だな。
奥様も同じご懸念を持たれている。そのため、今年は書斎から一切お出にならない方向で行くことになった。
つまり、ずっと書斎にこもられていることにする、というわけですか？
うん。
Oh, okay, now I understand. I didn't understand that much last time. So I guess in other family conferences, what they're doing is they're making him, let's say, for example, they're saying that he was walking around the house, but now the actual thing that they're gonna do is just let him stay in the study and not do anything really. Okay.
そして書斎に入ることが許されているのは我ら三人片翼の翼を許された使用人だけだ。
And Dr. Nanjo, I guess. Me and Dr. Nanjo, we see him in the study.
ということは僕たち3人で親方様の嘘を突き通さなくちゃならないわけか。
そうだ。親族の方々は親方様の具合や機嫌などを問い詰めてくるだろう。よどみなく答え、不審に思われることがなきよう注意するように。
はい、心得ました。
姉さんはすぐドジるからな。むしろ当日は風邪か何か理由をつけて欠席した方がいいんじゃない？
そんなひどい。
Kanon wasn't just making fun of her. He only wanted to release Shannon from the burden of working on this most serious of days.
源氏様、シャノンがシフトに入る必要はないのでは？僕たちだけで十分やります。
それはできん。奥様から我ら三人は必ずシフトに入るようにとの厳命だ。
Okay.
はい。やり遂げる覚悟です。
But I wonder, like, yeah, based on my theories, how does this conversation happen in real time, right? I don't know.
ドジらないでよ。
ドジりません。
Shannon grew sullen and Ganon shrugged. Then Genji told them that they weren't taking this seriously enough.
シャノン、カノン、すでにお仕えする親方様はお亡くなりになっている。しかし、本当の意味でお亡くなりになるまで、我らの奉仕は続く。あの書斎は無人ではない。今なお、親方様がおられ、日々の研究に勤しまれているのだ。それを深く心得よ。
はい、源氏様。
Ooh, new place.
お父様がすでに亡くなっている。
Ava, dead angle as well.
そんなバカな。
まあまあ、例えの話や。
Yeah, it kind of feels like Hideyoshi changed voice actors, or the tone is a little bit different. I mean, it's still there, the voice, but it seems, yeah, it's much more softer this time, the accent.
武田信玄はその死を3年の間秘密にするよう遺言したっちゅう有名な故事があるやろ。知らんか？
そんな話もあったかしら。日本史はよくわかんないわ。
Okay, so who said this to them though?
当時武田は織田や徳川との戦の真っ最中だった。そこで信玄が死んだなんて話になったら戦況に悪影響が出るやろ。そやから自分の死を3年隠すように遺言したんや。秀吉かてそうやで。主君織田信長の死を敵方に知られんように徹底的に情報規制を行い、素早く毛利と和解して中国大返しを行い明智を討ったんやないか。一方の柴田勝家はそこで失敗したんや。敵の上杉に信長の死を知られ、思わぬ反撃を受けて足止めを食らい、その後の秀吉との後継者争いで大きく遅れを取ることになったんや。
By the way, I like how Hideyoshi's talking about Takeda Shingen. Because remember, George was also talking about Takeda Shingen when he was proposing to Shannon in the first episode. Hideyoshi had a strong fascination with the commander of the Son Goku period, would always show off his knowledge when he got the chance. So I guess this is where George got his, I guess, or how he likes the Sengoku period as well, because Hideyoshi, his dad, yeah, he likes it. Wincing slightly, Ava made him get back to his point.
早い話が、わしは去年の親族会議からずっと違和感を持っとったんや。
あれは私やルドルフが遺産の話をしてたのを廊下のお父様に聞かれてしまって、それで。
そこや。夏井さんや使用人たちはどこそこにお父さんがいた、不機嫌そうだったと口を揃えたが、わしら親族は誰一人お父さんを見てないんやで。
もしあなたの想像が本当なら、どういうこと？兄さんが遺産の独り占めを狙ってるということ？
もちろん死んだことを隠すなんてかなり危険なことや。果たして遺産を独り占めするためだけにそれだけのことをクラウスさんがやってのけるのか、わしも確信は持てん。
Yeah, it's not really more on Kraus liking the inheritance for himself, right? It's not like he didn't want to give the inheritance to his siblings. It's more onto because he had done some shady stuff that no one knew, right? He wanted to clear that first before they can reveal that, or yeah, say that father has been missing, so no one would question him anymore, and he wouldn't get, let's say, yeah, was I sued or whatever? Yeah, something like that. It's mainly that he didn't want to get in trouble. That's why they needed to hide it for now.
だが可能性はある。
確かに兄さんは昔から強欲よ。兄弟全員でと受け取ったものを着服するなんてよくあることだったわ。
クラウスさんはわしら兄弟の中では一番裕福なはずや。そんなクラウスさんがお父さんの死を隠すなんて危険を冒してまで遺産の独り占めを目論むとは、わしにはちょいと信じられんのだがな。だがそう疑いたくなるくらい去年の親族会議はおかしかったんやで。
Ava and the others were painfully aware of how reckless it would be. He would cry and see Kinzo when he was in a bad mood. So during last year's family conference, once they heard about Kinzo getting into a terrible mood, they never made an attempt to contact him. That was why to this very day they hadn't found it suspicious that Kinzo had never appeared.
確かに疑ってみる価値はあるわね。でも本当に兄さんがお父様の死を隠すなんて大それたことをするかしら。傲慢なくせにおかしなところで小心な人よ。そんな一世一代の大博打を本当にするかしら。
いずれにせよ今年の会議ではきっちりお父さんのご尊顔を拝謁した方がええやろな。
非常に良くない噂さ。どうやら兄貴の事業は俺たちの想像を超えて手ひどく失敗してるらしい。
So we're actually seeing now each and other perspectives for, I guess, the other family members. I wonder if Rosa would, if they would show Rosa having any suspicions as well, right?
相当の損失を抱えてて、表向きを取り繕うだけで精一杯らしい。
Okay, so I guess for them, for Rudolph and Kyrie, they actually investigated it?
つまり、クラウスさんからお金を借りるのはとても難しいことというわけね。
That's why Kyrie was so confident, right, when she was talking with Kraus in episode 4.
ああ、泣けてくる。
クラウスさんにとって経済的に困窮していることはある種の弱みにはならないの？
弱み？
Because they can actually show evidence that this is happening, right? I think even in episode 1, I think they were talking about this already, right?
そりゃ、投資家は超えてるから投資家なんだぜ。
But yeah, in episode 1, they just didn't mention that what do I say this? That Kinzo was dead. Yeah, that was never mentioned, but I think yeah, they did mention that Krause's businesses were failing. Pretty much all of their businesses were failing. All of them, not just Krause. But Krause was the worst one.
実は金欠だなんてことになったら誰も見向きもしねえ。
They won't want to have anything to do with him.
信用第一の世界なのね。
Kirie smiled thinly. Rudolph was taken aback by that smile. He'd figured that his plan, which involved raising money to get him out of his current mess by borrowing from the affluent Krause, would all come to nothing now that they knew Krause himself was in financial trouble.
クラウスさんの信用はクラウスさんのこれからのお仕事に必要だろうけれど、私たちのこれからには必要ないわ。
兄貴をゆするってのか。
Are you suggesting that I blackmail him?
私だったら嫌よ。
I wouldn't want to if it were me. No, you would want to. Look at your face.
血のつながった兄弟を貶めるなんて。
The way she's laughing though. As she's lying, she would do that in a heartbeat. Rudolph felt a shiver go up his spine at Kirie's cold smile. Rudolph knows that she would do this. She would blackmail Krause. At times, Kirie was able to throw away all compassion and think in an extremely ruthless manner. Whenever he saw that, Rudolph knew he'd never like to have her as his enemy.
他に金策があるなら、お兄さんを脅迫なんてしたくないものだわ。
あったら悩んだりしね
え。選択の余地のない問題で悩むのは人生の無駄だと思わない？
Rudolph stopped talking, folded his arms, and lowered his gaze. He felt some of the terror he'd experienced thanks to Krause's violence when they were young. And now that same Krause was the one he needed to threaten. Rudolph would also be fighting against his childhood trauma. So to give her husband a little push, Kirie smiled reassuringly. And perhaps coldly.
つくづく信用で仕事をしたくないものだわ。信用ほど積み上げるのに苦労して失う時が一瞬なんて割の合わない投資はない。
I've never been a fan of doing work based on trust. She would rather do it in fear, right? It's actually like threaten someone to scare them.
え。そうだな。
It's much more easier, much more faster as well.
世の中100の信用より1枚の診察だ。
クラウスさんが大きな損失を出していると言っても、私たちの急場をしのぐためのお金くらいは十分用意できるはず。もちろんクラウスさんのこれまでの信用を換金してお金を作ってもらうことになるけれど、
こいつはやばい話になるな。
十分な備えが必要よ。私たちには時間も失敗も許されてない。そうだったわね。私の京都の友人たちにそういうのを洗うのが上手な人たちがいるわ。あまり世話になりたくない連中なんだけど、一度会ってもらってもいい？領収書は切れないけど、きっと投資に見合うだけのものを調べ上げてくれるわ。
Okay, who's calling? There's no Rosa scene? Okay, here's Rosa's scene. I see.
マリアも元気よ。そちらは大きなお世話よ。
That is none of your business.
ありがとう。え？さあ、スケジュールを見てみないとわからないけど。
Rosa was talking to Rudolph over the phone. Rosa rarely received calls from her older siblings, so she braced herself for something serious.
実はな、次の親族会議についてちょいと兄貴抜きで意見を調整したいんだ。
Okay, so I guess that this scene that we're seeing now is the family planning, or the siblings planning, or what they were doing and how they planned to talk to Krause, right? And then this is where they decided to have like the split. Was it like 250 million? I kind of forgot how much it is, but or was it 2.5 billion? I don't remember, but it was something like that, right? There was that split that they wanted.
エヴァ姉さんとルドルフ兄さんと私の3人で頭痛の増えそうな話ね。
電話じゃ詳しくは話せない。だが、お前にとって聞く価値のある話のはずだ。
それはいい話？
もちろん。姉貴は乗り気だぜ。
姉さんが？
ローザには賛同してほしいだけだ。金を出せとか、そういう話じゃない。俺たち3人が全員結束してることがまず大事なんだ。わかるな。
Rosa let out a sigh. She did so because in the past when Rudolph and Ava got into a fight with Kraus, they always used to talk to her like this right before dragging her into it.
先に教えて。その話は私も得をする話よね。
ああ。俺たち3人で2億ずつせしめる。
But it didn't increase. Was it like much more? A little bit more? Like it was totaling about 900 million? Was it like that? Or was it only 200 million? I don't remember.
うまくいけばそれ以上も引っ張れるかもしれない。お前の借金、それでチャラだろ。
それはいつまでにせしめられるの？
もちろん年度内だ。俺も助かる。姉貴も助かる。そしてローザも助かるってわけだ。三方丸く収まる。
姉さんが話に乗るくらいには勝算があるのね。
話を聞く気になったか？ちょいと急だが、次の日曜日の19時に銀座のお前のお気に入りの喫茶店で会おう。俺と姉貴の予定がそこでしか合わねえ。問題ないか
？2億捻出できる話なら聞かないわけにはいかないわ。
I mean, that's a lot of money.
では次の日曜日の午後7時にレオポルドで。
マリアちゃんによろしくね。連れてきてもいいんだぜ。
あの子の前でお金の話はやめて。
Don't talk about money in front of that child. She set the receiver down with a clunk a little violently. Apparently, either Ava or Rudolph had gotten a hold of one of Krause's weak points. They would probably threaten him with that at the next family conference and force him to pay up. Even before hearing the details, she knew full well that it would be nothing good. But even so, this might be her once-in-a-lifetime chance to pay back her large debts. Rosa took a notebook out of her handbag and started to mark the day she'd be meeting with Rudolph and Eva Nesan. Then she frowned and smacked herself hard in the forehead, because written there was DZL with Maria, something she had planned to do with her daughter. DZL? Maria was in her room playing around excitedly with Sakutaro and the others. That was because she was going to go to the recently built amusement park, Disneyland. Oh, then they're not gonna go there anymore. The following Sunday, looking at the clock, Rosa saw that it was just past 9 o'clock at night. Maria was breaking the lights out rule. After covering her face and agonizing for a while, Rosa stood up and stomped over to Maria's room. The room would probably be a mess as well, at least tonight that was convenient. As she stood outside the door to Maria's room listening to the happy laughter seeping through, Rosa's face twisted in anguish once again and she looked at the floor. Then she raised her head again. Her brow was furrowed and her face had become an ugly expression of anger. Okay, I actually thought she was there was gonna show a scene, or they were gonna show a scene that Rosa is shouting at Maria yet again. Thank God that didn't happen. I'm so tired of those scenes, man. I don't want to see those scenes anymore. Yeah, the weather wasn't that great. According to the weekend forecast, a certain tropical cyclone would likely grow into a large typhoon. If unhappy premonitions tend to be right, This year's family conference will probably take place in absolutely horrible weather, but yeah, as we saw there, right, Maria is happy again that, oh, they're gonna go to Disneyland. But later on, it had to be cancelled, right, because of the meeting with Rudolph and Ava. So sorry, Maria. This year's family conference will probably take place in absolutely horrible weather. No, I wish a typhoon large enough to stop all boat travel would seal Rook and Jiwa away forever. If that happened, I'd be able to hide Kinzo's death as long as I wanted.
台風が彼らを永遠に遠ざけてくれればいいのに。
So what she wanted was them to not reach this place, or for them not to travel here because, yeah, there's a typhoon and of course you cannot use your boat, right? Natsuhi let out a deep sigh, so they can at least maybe hold out a little bit more. Just doing that made her headache throb. As the day of the family conference approached, the intensity of her headache just kept on increasing. So maybe this is the root cause of her headaches. Remember, they were saying that Natsuhi always had headaches in episode 1. I think in episode 1, because in episode 1 she was kind of like a big character. So maybe this is why she was having headaches, right? Because she kept thinking of ways to prevent the others from finding out about Kinzo, I mean. At the time, the phone rang. Natsuhi turned the TV off and picked up the receiver.
はい。
お休みのところ申し訳ございません。
Oh, Genji.
源氏でございます。
何事ですか？
奥様に外線からお電話でございます。ですが、名前をお名乗りになられません。
名乗らない？
はい。先方は話せばわかるとは申しておりますが、いかがしますか？いたずらかもしれません。
どんな相手です？
おそらく若い男性ではないかと。お心当たりはございませんか？
A young man.
若い男性。
Natsuhi didn't have a clue who that might be. In the first place, there was no one amongst her acquaintances who would do something as rude as refusing to state their name. And on top of that, a young man. As a wife, she must avoid any contact that might be considered suspicious with anyone other than her husband, much less a young man. As soon as she thought this, the phone call suddenly seemed like something dirty. But despite that, she also wanted to know what they wanted to tell her. Yeah. Could it be some kind of trouble related to Krause's business? What if there was some particular reason they needed to talk to Krause's wife instead of Krause directly? No matter what it is my duty as a wife to listen and report to Krause. If it's some bizarre threat, I just have to firmly refuse and inform Krause that I received such a phone call. If it's something offensive, I just have to tell Genji to never send me anonymous calls yet again. As Natsuhi thought this, just as Genji was suggesting that he hang up on the man as though that was she'd naturally choose, she told him to connect her to the person. She then set the receiver down. After a short while, the phone rang again.
もしもし。
I like how they're using this scene. Because it is Rose's house, right? With her phone. This wasn't the internal line. It was the external phone line which Genji had redirected to her. So it should really already have been connected directly with the mysterious man. However, the person on the other end didn't respond. Not liking this at all, Natsuhi spoke one more time, sounding displeased.
もしもし？誰ですか？名を名乗りなさい。
She heard something that sounded like a sigh. Oh my god, come on, what is this? She gulped reflexively. After remaining silent for a little longer, the man finally answered.
久しぶりだな。
That was the first time the man had spoken.
どれくらいぶりになるんだ？一体何年ぶりかな？
何の話です？ あなたは誰ですか？
The voice did sound like a young man's, but it is hard to learn about someone just by their voice over the phone. It sounded like a young man, but it might actually be a middle school aged boy, or a man in his prime who still had a youngish voice. No wait, it might be too soon to be sure this is even a male. However, one thing was certain, Natsuhi could think of no one who would speak to her in an overly familiar manner like this.
俺が誰かを名乗るのは簡単さ。だが、それでは俺があまりに悲しい。
Who is this?
何を言っているのか分かりかねます。あなたは誰ですか？そして私に何の用ですか？それが言えないなら興味はありません。切りますよ。
俺の望みはあんたに思い出してもらうことだ。
何を思い出せというのですか？あなたなど知りませんし、思い出すような心当たりもありません。
そんなこと言うなよ。俺はあんたの子供じゃないか。
Oh, I am your child, am I not? What?
何ですって？あなたは何を言っているんです？
そんな悲しいことを言うなよ。母さん。
Dude, what is this? This is something new. I did not expect anything like this. What? That unsettling word thrust itself mercilessly into the depths of Natsui's heart and started churning it about. In her entire life, Natsui had never been told something so unsettling. In her bewilderment, Natsui felt her heart beat so loudly that it felt like it would explode.
あなたに母と呼ばれる覚えはありません。何のつもりか知りませんが、もう切りますよ。
俺は復讐するために帰ってきたんだ。
I came back for revenge. Oh my
あ
god.
んたの19年前の罪。
Your crime of 19 years ago. Natsuhi's mind went blank. And from beyond the wind howling outside the window, she most certainly heard the roar of the sea from that day.
あんた、本当はもう思い出してるんだろ。
So what did Natsuhi did or do back then?
何の話かわからないと言っています。もう二度とかけないでください。
19年前にあんたがした仕打ちを俺は忘れない。だからあんたを呪うためにあえてそれでも、いやだからこそ俺もうすぐ親族会議じゃないか。俺も母さんの子供だからね。会議の日に帰るよ。
I will come on the day of the conference as well.
19年ぶりにね。あんたに復讐するために。
Blink. Breathing so hard, her shoulders heaved. Natsui slammed the receiver down and hung up. Then she hit the phone violently, knocking the receiver off, so that no more calls would come through it. I can hear the roar of the sea. That voice I hear from beyond the howling wind is certainly... Even if I cover my ears, the headaches, they won't. Completely pale, and Natsuhi kept shivering as though the cold...
Ramda, いる？ええ、いるわよ。ベルンが望めばどこにでも。じゃあ台所の床下収納に入ってて。ぬかみその壺の中でもいいわ。ああ、私を味噌につけてかじってくれるの？でもそれなら蜂蜜につけてほしいものだわ。お返しにベルンは砂糖水で煮込んであげる。せめて砂糖醤油とみりんにして。 って何？復唱要求でも気取っちゃう？
そうよ。この夏日の電話のやり取りは事実？
Is Natsu's phone conversation here real? Lambda Delta grinned unpleasantly as though sizing Burn Castle up. She was probably trying to tease Burn for making that demand.
復唱拒否？
さーてね。
Just say it.
拒否か応じるかどうしよっかな。
I think if she doesn't respond, she could just be playing, right?
それを決めるのはゲームマスターの私の自由だし、その判断をいつするかさえ自由。
Yeah, she could just be playing here. Maybe that really is real. She just doesn't want to confirm it.
青字宣言でない限り、あんたに答える義務はないしね。
Okay, say it in blue then.
そういうこと。今はせいぜい夏日の19年前に一体どんな秘密がとワクワクテカテカしてなさい。
Of course, this fishy telephone call happened before October 4th, 1986. This is still before the start time of the game, so there's basically no need to question whether it's true or fake or false.
ゲームマスターのあんたがわざわざ見せた以上、何かの布石だと思っとくわ。騙しかもしれないけれど、一応あんたのこの指し手は記憶に留めておく。
このカードを伏せたまま場に出すってやつね。まあ、いいか。何？
ダイレクトアタック。
After suddenly being conked on the hand, Lambda Delta was bewildered. But perhaps this incomprehensible exchange was funny to her because she quickly went back to giggling.
これであんたのゲーム版の準備は十分？
ええ、そうよ。それじゃあいよいよゲームを進めるわよ。1986年10月4日にね。
何度目の1986年10月4日かしらね。無限の魔女か。
The Endless Witch.
ベアトリーチェ、やはり恐ろしい子だわ。
ベルン側は何か行動ある？
ないわよ。あんたが復唱要求に応えないならそれで終わり。
Please, Burn Castle, say it in blue so she responds.
ターンエンドね。スタート。クリーンアップ。ドロー。さあ来たれ。1986年10月4日。
Oh my god, that is a big mystery, man. Is that real? Probably. I have my theories right now, but I don't want to try and say it for now, I guess. But why is it a man though, right? Why is it a guy or a boy? Let's say if this was it Furudo Erika. Okay. But if this is, let's say maybe the culprit was the one?
やっぱりこのバラ庭園は圧巻だぜ。
Maybe it's the culprit. Maybe it is the culprit, right? Maybe it is the culprit. Because yes, I have my theories that there are different personalities, right? I mean, maybe you could say that, right? That could fit there. Because we don't really know what happened to the culprit. And for my theories back then, something did happen to the culprit. And then she ended up in Fukuin house, right? I mean, you could say that. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to talk about that for now. Because, yes, maybe, maybe it's not true, but I don't know. But yeah, okay, so let's just say this. If this person, this boy, this guy who called doesn't show up, that means it's maybe the culprit still, and then just using a male voice, right? The reason I'm saying culprit because I'm not really confident with my theory and saying that it is canon or Sayo, right? I'm not really confident right now. Because, and then yes, it's just a speculation, it is a theory. So maybe I'll just say culprit from time to time, right? It's much more easier to say rather than if I say the name exactly. Because yes, for my theories and my theory and thoughts videos, in the game world, I think yes, Canon, Shannon, and then the Beatrice is or has their own personalities, own characters, I mean. So,
6年前よりさらにすごくなってやがる。
no. Here. So yeah, this one, Canon, Shannon, who else? And then the Beatrice, because it's not showing here, are technically, yeah, based on my theories, okay? One person, and then there's one person behind them, the actual one, right? And I think it was Shannon, or let's say the original Shannon, Sayo, right? So that was my theories there if you didn't watch my thoughts and theories videos. So basically for me, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then if we count one of them, 16. So yeah, 16 people for me on the island right now. And when they said it back then, right, they said 17 persons. But for me, when I counted them, based on my stuff, my speculations, only 16. I counted them as 16. So there can be actually one more person, right? But we'll find out. But yeah, they did show another character though in the beginning, and it was technically talking to Natsuhi, or basically talking to them, right? So who is that now? I don't know, we'll find out. But anyways, we are gonna continue this and do more of Umineko When They Cry, episode 5 in the next one. So I'll just see you then, guys. Bye bye.